At the very end of this video, I said there are a lot of things that I have to add. So let's see how that has been going. Last time, all the program could do was to test one weapon at a time against a singular enemy. But now, I have defined test groups, which means I can easily evaluate how effective a weapon would be against a particular faction. And not just that, I have also implemented a system to do all the tests at once. You would just tell the code to test all and it would go for it. I have made my standard repeat at 500, which means every test all is nearly 30,000 units. And you don't have to go for one weapon at a time either. You can list as many weapons as you want and the level you want to test each one against, and the code will do all of them in one go. If you're wondering how annoying it would be to read all the results before closing the program, worry not. Because with brief log, the code will save all the results in a folder of your choosing. So you can look at them later and you won't lose any test results just because you closed the program. What is that? How about all those fancy mods like Condition Overload, Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, Hemorrhage, and so on? I'm happy to say all of them are already implemented. Combo is fully functional and you can even use stances, though I did take the liberty of picking one stance combo for each weapon category because there is no way I'm wasting my life entering all the damn stance info. At the end of the day, you can only realistically compare melee weapons in the same category, so it won't make a difference anyway. I also went ahead and made guaranteed procs functional, which honestly, it was a pain. Because any multipliers the hit gets will also affect the guaranteed proc, which meant I had to carry those over. But since all those multipliers were under one variable, it really got messy until I sucked it up and redid the whole thing across all fire modes and guaranteed proc functions. I find it quite amusing how it took me 2 weeks to implement Seto properly. Before it I had a main fire which was the main source of damage and status procs. But to make it work, I had to make a second stage for the main fire, as well as an alt fire with its own second stage, and also unique guaranteed status procs that no other weapon in the game shared, as well as the entirety of Condition Overload main code. All of that resulted in a grand total of 39 seconds of content in the primary video. But I have to admit, the 4 different fire modes came really handy. Especially when I wanted to implement a double fire test, which is using 2 different fire modes of the same weapon one after the other. I used it to see if it would be better to use uncharged shots in combination with charged shots when using Epitaph. The same code could be used to test any other weapon in a similar situation. For example, you could say Heinz auto mode and the semi-auto mode, though I haven't tested that one, but it is possible to do. Let's see, what else? Yes, the AoE weapons. Those were quite interesting to implement because they really required some brain power. The problem was, if different weapons have different maximum AoE range, how can we test them on the same test group? This is especially important because weapons with bigger AoE can simply hit more targets at a time. But if the falloff is heavy enough, it might actually take a long time to kill enemies far from center due to falloff, which meant unless they all hit the exact same enemy count and composition, it would be really difficult to draw a fair conclusion about their effectiveness. At the end, I decided to just put a standard of 6 meter in place and say anything lower is not an AoE weapon, but a limited AoE weapon. While I was testing primary and secondary weapons, I made a point of entering nearly all weapon information to the code. So they're pretty easy to access, and by the time melee is finished, my stat banks will be pretty solid. And saving the builds one wants to use couldn't be easier. Just put them in the weapon build function and you can use them whenever. I find it really amusing how I can say Stalta Auto full test at level 185, and in the same run, I can also say test Dragon Nikana against level 60s and it will run and save both of them separately in their own file. And as I'm on it, I could also say redo both of these tests at level 40. It truly makes it easy to test weapons. Do you guys remember how I said I would very much like to learn Python KV to make an interface? As of right now, that has a very small chance of happening. I've already done everything I wanted to do with this program, and giving it an interface doesn't make a difference. It would have been interesting to learn how to do that, but I lost confidence when I noticed if I remade this program I could do it way better. but that isn't important enough nor valuable enough to spend my time on right now. But I will share the code itself right after I finish the recommended melee weapons. I will probably accompany it with a video explaining how to use it, but no promises. I might just give you some text which explains it instead. We'll see how it goes. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section and like if you enjoyed the video. I also have a Discord server if you want to convince me to make an interface for this thing. Anyway, that will be all, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.